Are you a professional pillow fighter? Or a 9-to-5 low-cost time travel agent? Or maybe real estate sales on Mars is your profession? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is you do, however complex or intricate, Monday.com can help you organize, orchestrate, and make it more efficient. Monday.com is the one centralized platform for everything work-related. And with Monday.com, work is just easier. Monday.com, for whatever you run. Go to Monday.com to learn more.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer. Let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
So I'm seeing this guy, and he has to have an outward girlfriend, and I don't like that. It's gross, like that he takes to events at the campus.
Right.
And whatever. So, but while I was seeing him, I was also seeing this guy back in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, who was in charge of the Miss Lancaster County pageant because I was in it. And he was like 38.
Wait, you were in a beauty pageant?
It's a scholarship pageant, Judy.
Sorry.
It's a prelim for Miss America.
So did you wear a bathing suit and stuff?
Well, yeah. Wow. I was first runner-up for Miss Lancaster County.
No fucking way.
1980. 81.
Are you fucking kidding me? That gets a bell just for...
Same year I had sex with a girl first time.
Oh my God.
Come on, that's
so
fun.
exciting. This might be the beginning of part 2 because this is so fucking exciting. Wait, so you're up for Miss Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and then that...
Only 12 girls get picked, too.
And then what happens? Then if whoever wins goes where?
To Miss Pennsylvania. And if you win
then
Miss
Pennsylvania
Miss America.
Wow, so it's like really big.
I had a big trophy somewhere.
Wow. Okay. And
I got in it because you could win scholarship money if you got in the top 5.
Wait, so did everyone in town now go, oh, the slut is...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, yeah, because then now you're in a parade the weeks before, and you're sitting on the back of a convertible and waving.
So when you go back, is it a whole different...
Oh, honey. I just went back for my 40th high school reunion. I go up into the little room, and all the girls that were the cheerleaders and the girls that were a little bit more elite and had money and stuff like that came flying at me.
Oh, right.
Like I was their best friend.
Right.
And were on me all night. I'm going to tell you, my husband just doesn't understand. Like all this.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff.
I get that shit all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember every fucking nasty shit thing they said
I'm thinking it while they're saying stuff to me.
Yeah. It's awful.
I remember when you mocked my pubic hair when we were in gym class when I was standing beside you at a locker because I remember
So if there are any kids listening, I'm just letting you know. No, I'm just saying that all the people who are in high school and are the most popular, that's their peak. That's it. That's the end of their...
so is.
Yeah, and that's it. They're done. Yes. And you have a whole life ahead of you without these fucking small-minded people. Yeah. Okay.
That's incredible and so common.
Yeah. So, okay. So, you graduate college.
I wanted to move to New York.
Right.
We couldn't afford it. I was with a girl by then.
Wait, you lost the Lancaster. You didn't become Miss Pennsylvania.
Oh, that was my junior year in college.
Okay, that done.
No,
okay.
I didn't become.
But were you done with beauty pageants?
Oh yeah, I didn't like the pageant so much.
Yeah.
I was here. It was my junior year in college. I was sleeping with the guy, the administrator. I was sleeping with the guy who ran the Miss Lancaster County pageant, and I was sleeping with another, and they were all named Dave.
Really?
I was sleeping with a guy from Pittsburgh who was a friend of some family friend that we knew because he was, when I met him, we were both, I think 19 and he was a virgin and I just couldn't deal with it. I'm like, oh my God, come on.
Now,
I'll show you.
What kind of birth control did you use?
Just those regular little pills. I went to Planned Parenthood.
Where?
Did we talk about Planned Parenthood? They help women. It's a whole thing. It's not like a big expensive thing.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
We just talked about that. Yeah, I can't.
You should do more research about them. I think you'll love them.
All right. So you become a bartender.
So I'm sleeping with 3 guys named Dave.
Okay, sorry.
And this girl named Linda comes to every night of my plays, any play I'm ever in, brings me flowers every time.
Okay. What were some of the parts you were, in
college I didn't get that much. That's one of the reasons I was so angry too about I didn't do too well at school is I was thought of as a dancer, and so they wouldn't give me like parts because I wasn't an actress.
Right.
That's how they used to.
They pigeonhole everyone,
and it wasn't a good program,
right?
You know what I mean? And so I was in all the musicals, and I choreographed them because I told them I lied and said I had taken extensive classes.
Right.
Back in Philadelphia.
Right. You're a good liar.
Oh, honey.
Okay, wait.
I don't do it anymore, but it used to be my best skill.
So Linda
comes, and she's not a theater person. She's there playing basketball and softball, and she would come to all the plays, and then one night she says to me, "It's absolute." She goes, "My team is having a kegger at my apartment off campus. I want you to come." And I was like, I don't know what any of those words mean.
Right.
No. And then so I went to her party, but I took my boyfriend, the guy I was seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
this is true, absolutely true. Then she went, oh.
And he was the only guy there?
Yes, there was just a whole room full of the softball and basketball teams, girls playing quarters.
Right.
I didn't even know what that was. And so she walks out on the front step. She says, I have to talk to you. And she goes out on the front porch with him, and I'm just standing there with these women who are, and he never came back. He said, I don't know what she said to him, but he left. And I guess she said, I'll drive her back to campus or whatever. I think she told him it was an all-girls party.
Right. So then he goes back. And what
so
happens?
I stay at the party, and they teach me quarters. I wasn't a big drinker. I hadn't done all that shit yet. You know what I mean? I didn't care.
And did you feel different in that group of women?
Well, no.
Oh, okay.
I had a lot. I did not enjoy that part of it because I was wearing like what I thought were cool jeans, or probably slacks, and I had a sweater tied around. I was trying to be preppy. I thought it was so cool, and they were all in sweatpants, and sneakers. I didn't even own a pair of sneakers. And I had tons of makeup on. Remember the blue eyes?
Yeah.
And they didn't have makeup on, and they were freaked out by me completely. And Linda was like, "Oh, I want you to meet everybody." And I'm an extrovert, so that wasn't it. But they didn't want to know me. They were like, because they were all closeted lesbians, right. And they knew me as the girl who's sleeping with the administrator on campus. That's all. And she wanted me to be there, so I was there and I stayed. And I actually had. Did you ever see that? What was that movie? If These Walls Could Talk. And they take a girl and make her into a femme in that scene. I had the exact opposite happen to me that night. The girls took me into the bathroom and
took your makeup
on a sweatpants suit with that little stripes.
So funny. Oh yeah, like Joey Buttafuoco.
It hurt my feelings. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I like being a girl.
Right. Okay. So then.
She says it's late and everybody leaves. It's like 3 a.m. She goes, oh, I can't drive you back to the campus because I'm so. And she's never had sex with anybody. Or anything. She's just following her feelings, right?
Right.
And she goes, you're gonna have to stay here and sleep here with me, or not with me, whatever. And so back then she was stealing HBO. Remember when you used to like the TVs and you'd scroll them up? And so we watched one of those really super scary movies back then. It was like 1981, so it was like Halloween or whatever. And she got really scared. She goes, you guys sleep in the bed with me? And I slept in the bed with me. And so then I made love to her. Oh, no, that was the first night, too.
Wow.
I just thought about that.
And was it different?
I'm a whore.
I know. Was it different? Did it feel?
Yeah, an orgasm. She'd never even had sex with anybody.
And you go in, you're like,
and
okay.
she goes down on me the first time she's ever gone down, and I have orgasm. I'd had sex with 6 guys by now, 7, and I was faking it like a porn queen.
And did you at that moment
go? I went back to my room the next day and just was like,
what happened? Yeah,
oh my God.
But I
think I'm lesbian.
Okay, did you? And then your boyfriend, who was kicked out of the party. Yeah. What happened? He came in and was like, what happened at the party?
Oh, I think I saw him later that day or whatever. And it wasn't a big deal. Yeah. But then I was seeing 3 guys named Dave in different parts of Pennsylvania and a girl named Linda. And I did that for like almost 6 months or something like that. And then I went, I'm a lesbian. I am completely a lesbian.
Wow. And
that's it.
And
I
you
broke
never
up with
slept
the boys.
with the guy again?
Oh, no.
That's
I broke
amazing.
up with all the boys. And
did you come out to anyone?
Everyone. I started a gay group on campus called Guy Act.
See, this is the activist part of Suzanne Westenhoefer.
Who's Scandinavian.
Yeah. You embrace your sexuality.
Oh my God. I was like, and everyone needs to know. And we're going to change the world. And you know what?
That is an attitude that takes so many people so much time to, but I feel like because
that personality trait maybe though.
No, but it's also, don't you feel like it's also because you were the piranha?
Oh,
And,
yes.
And
yes,
and you were
yes.
like,
I already got treated as badly as I was going to get
right.
treated.
I've been humiliated.
What are you
going to
do to me because I'm lesbian?
Right. So
Right,
that
exactly.
I think that sort
That
of
helped.
gave you strength.
I think so too.
You become a bartender.
Then I moved to Jersey.
Yeah, where?
Right, Richfield Park, right beside.
Oh, yes.
You know, right beside Fort Lee.
Yeah, because I'm from New Jersey.
Jersey.
Okay.
And I loved New Jersey. It was the weirdest thing. Within months of living there, I went, oh, these are my people.
Right.
Girls who do makeup and
Oh my
hair.
God. Can I say
like,
something?
I was so happy.
I grew up in New Jersey.
And they were aggressive. Girls who were aggressive.
I live in New York. I've lived in New York more than I've lived in.
Yeah.
But I am a Jersey girl. I can tell a Jersey girl immediately. They're outspoken.
Yes.
They curse.
Yes.
They are unapologetic.
Right?
And there's a lot of lesbians from New Jersey.
yeah.
Like I can't, when I go back in high school and I think so many lesbies. Okay. So you become a bartender.
At the Hula Hands in Secaucus.
Right. Okay. And
I know.
Someone,
Jealous.
I am. And your friends, are you doing any acting? Do you have headshots?
My
Do you have a
partner
resume?
and I, she would get all freaked out and nervous.
It wasn't Linda.
No.
It was now
Sorry,
who?
no, I went for a coach. Now I got Katie. And
Katie
I get
the
Katie,
coach?
Katie, and I get her to move with me to Jersey. Well, because we
Okay.
got found out my last year on campus, and that was bad because of lesbianism, not age or anything like that, right? And she was being threatened that that she might get fired or get brought up because she was being an open lesbian.
Right.
Remember, 1981. And so she and I, she goes, well then she was gonna get a job at William Patterson.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we went to Jersey and. She had trouble when I went into New York for auditions and stuff like that. She felt left alone and lost and
God.
abandoned.
I
She
can't.
just really
No,
struggled.
it's needy.
And so I did nothing.
Okay.
And it was easy to do nothing because it was also terrifying because I
Right.
would go in there and I didn't know what I was doing. I
Oh,
was just reading
please.
backstage and going, what
Yeah.
am I supposed to do? Right? You know what I mean? I did for like a year
and
or
it's,
so.
talk
I didn't know
about
what I was doing.
humiliation.
Oh,
okay.
horrifying.
So you become
a bartender.
and you're sort of
And all of a
doing
sudden,
your act.
I'm also doing really well as a bartender. I mean, I had to wait for people to sit at the bar at lunch instead of going into the restaurant when they only had, an hour,
Right.
2 hours, because they liked me so much. They had so much fun with me.
Right. And, I often
wait
think
for the bar.
bartenders are,
Psychologists
psychologists
comedians.
and
It's
listeners.
everything we
Yeah.
do good.
So
Do well.
your audience then comes in at 12 in the afternoon. You do a set for 2 hours.
I do well till through happy hour back
Through
then. I used to
happy
work
hour.
through happy hour. Yeah.
And then your friend suggests, oh, why don't you do stand-up comedy?
Here's exactly what happened. It was the beginning of 1990, and I was.
Did you know who I was at that time?
I did. I think I knew you. I think I had known you because I was going into clubs to go to. I loved comedy. That was never
right. Because I was already.
I just never thought in any way I was an actor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, because I had already begun my.
Yes, I think I.
in the.
I feel like I saw you even on not Comedy Central, but it could have been.
Oh, A&E.
One of those little.
Yeah, it was Caroline's Comedy
Oh,
Hour.
yeah. It might have been.
Yeah. So I had already begun, with my fucking
Yep.
spit curls. But I had already begun in like 82.
Yep.
So, okay. So
I'm like, I'm not thinking about being a comic or anything, but I was an activist. And I was in ACT UP, and then we split off to Queer Nation.
Right.
And I was a lesbian Avenger. Remember
right.
those?
Yes, I remember
I only
the
did that for a
lesbian.
brief time.
And I
But-
have to say, this time, the mid 80s
Oh, my
through the
God.
mid 90s, I
It's like a
worked.
sweet spot for homos to be.
But it was sad. It was
political.
a sad, sad. I worked at God's Love. We
Oh,
deliver. I worked at all the
Pause.
AIDS
Remember
rights.
Pause?
Yeah.
I know all those things.
Act Up.
First AIDS walk ever.
I worked
I
there.
did it. So that, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, no one even. It wasn't.
And you just wanted to touch
it was
these
a-
people
it was a
because
total-
no one
and
would
you weren't allowed
touch
to
them.
touch. Yeah, there was a whole thing.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a different
sad.
time.
It makes me so
creepy
sad. Okay.
And guys would die in like a minute. That's how it
and
felt.
we're- and
they would show up at a club with
we're in
like
our
a
20s.
sore on their neck,
Yeah.
and then they were dead.
I
And you're like,
know.
oh my god.
Thank you, Ronald. Thank
Again.
you.
Yeah. So I
Ronald.
had begun this big activism thing or whatever, and somebody said people would come into the bar and they would go, "You're funnier than this guy I saw on HBO last night," because HBO was killing it back
Yeah.
then. You know what I mean? And I would go, "Oh, whatever," And so this guy who was like a regular, he came in and he was talking once and he says, well, you should just do it. And I go, what am I going to do? Go in there and I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to go in there and go, my boyfriend and I.
Yeah.
That's not my style. I wouldn't have been able to do that.
Right.
And he said, I said, and I knew about Kate Clinton because I knew women's music. So I knew that, and she would always be doing the shows with them.
Kate Clinton, by the way, legendary.
Basically the first open lesbian comic of any.
First lesbian comic.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, for sure,
without
unapologetic.
Right.
New act
but
every,
she wasn't doing TV or clubs yet.
Right.
She wasn't able to. They weren't, right. And so, and I don't even know if she wanted to. And I knew that if I was going to do stand up, and this guy challenged me. He basically said, "You should do a stand up." I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not gonna lie. And he goes, "Oh, why? What are you not gonna? You're never gonna get another bartender job?" And when he said that, though, it hit me. I went, "Yeah, what am I?
Yeah,
try it.
Not? Yeah."
And then I got all activist about it. I'm going to go in. I'm going to get up in the regular clubs, just like regular people. Now I'm going to be openly gay, and I'm going to change the world. I never thought I'd be doing it for a living, or have any success.
Now, had you seen Bob Smith at this time? Because Bob Smith.
By this time, I had seen.
Bob Smith had been
only
out.
Within that few months, I'd seen Funny Gay Males. I'm going to say a handful of times with Kate Clinton.
Right.
Certainly, those kind of things. Absolutely.
Well, I have to do one of these for Funny Gay Males
Jaffe.
for Jaffe Cohen.
Yeah.
And for Bob. Bob's kind of Jewish.
Yeah, he's like a
I miss you, Bob. I miss you. Okay, go ahead.
He was such a good guy.
Yeah.
So I went in. I knew, and the first thing I started to do was go and hang out with a handful of comics. Like I met this guy, and I forgot his name, Ron, whatever. And he was like telling you stuff like always go with another friend, and you go to these open mics, or whatever. And then the first time I tried it was July 31st, 1990. Oh my God, is that my 29th anniversary? Yeah, it is.
All I have to say
oh my God, it is.
Happy anniversary.
Oh my God, I love that. I didn't even think, I was like.
Wow. Okay, and so.
Yeah, it's my 29th.
So you go up, and then you win a contest.
They had a little contest at Kelly's, which was a cabaret.
Wait, is Kelly such a lesbo name? Kelly!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you remember, did you ever see her? Down there in the West Village on the corner, right by the duplex and all that shit.
Yeah, I was doing stand-up anywhere. I did go to happy hours on Wall Street.
Oh, they had it at bars and restaurants.
Everywhere. And street fairs.
Yes, everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I heard about the contest and I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. And I didn't know anything about what I could do yet. So I memorized the three minutes of what I thought was hysterical comedy. And I went to their open mic, but it was an open mic contest where they would have everybody applaud at the end who was the best one.
Right.
And there were like 15 comics, 20 comics got up. Everybody did 3 minutes. Yeah. And I won.
And Mazel Tov, but who else was there? Anyone?
I'm not positive exactly, but I can tell you that within weeks it was Sarah Silverman, Kathy Griffin.
No, not Jewish.
Oh yeah, close. There are a handful that have done very well. Do you know what I mean?
You know, I love Sarah Silverman, and
we did not think she was going to do well.
Really?
We did not. We did not think Kathy was going to do well. I loved, and both of them were so nice, especially Kathy. She was very sweet to me. But you know what I mean? It's
can I say something about Sarah Silverman? This is how much I love her. We had a friend, Carol Henry, who died of AIDS.
I remember Carol.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I knew her too.
Yeah, and she was
horrible.
She was, and she was estranged from her family, so we were very close friends, and there was just like 4 of us that would take care of her.
Yes.
And when she died, it was so funny because all these people showed up at her funeral that none of us knew. Yeah, from her drug addict days and everything, and we were like, "Oh my God, Carol, you just kept your life such a secret." But I remember Sarah was new. She came to the funeral. I just remember her.
Oh, that's,
because a lot of people just didn't show up, and she's a really good person.
I knew her, and she was always super sweet to me. But
my kids are in love with her.
We ever ran around together.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Okay, so you win the contest and you start going to clubs.
And I think, I was going to do this. And so
once you do well, you think, I'm going to be on the Tonight Show next week.
Next week. And so Kevin Downey Jr. and myself and another female straight gal who remembers the Stonewall riots because she and her husband were in them.
Right.
Typical raised in New York people. we went around to all the different places that you were allowed to get up, like Gladys's comedy room, you know, whatever. We went
Comedy
in and
U
got up,
Grand.
everything. Oh my God, you're killing me. I've forgotten a bunch of these things a little bit.
Comedy U Grand.
Comedy U, I forgot.
A Green Street. There was upstairs. What was that?
That's the one upstairs is the Gladys's comedy room, wasn't it?
Yeah,
because
and then
it was a lobster restaurant, and you'd be doing just set, and they'd be there to crack in the.
I did. You know what I did? One of the first times I did stand up after I graduated college, because I had done it in college, and then I stopped, and then when I graduated and moved to New York and was doing it, was at an Indian restaurant in the middle of
sounds so familiar.
It was in the 40s. I remember that's where I met Jim David, gay, not Jewish. And I remember he did a bit of he was a cat. He was doing his cat cleaning himself, and I thought that was so funny.
Tip.
Yeah, and then there was a bug zapper above the stage.
I've done this place,
and it would be like. And my parents came. Oh, I'll never forget my parents came.
Oh, yeah, harsh,
okay, but we would do anything. So, okay.
Oh, yeah, you did. You did anything. You weren't getting paid or anything. You were just trying to get good.
You got $5 on Thursday nights at the Women's Night at Comedy U Grand. $5. It took a while.
I'm not sure I remember that.
Yeah. Okay.
I just remember that it cost me to come in over the bridge.
You'd make no money.
I was already out of money.
Yeah. And people think like comics make so much money when they do sets in the city.
Even now, they have no idea.
$75.
But the clubs don't play anything. Yeah,
100, 125. All right.
I did. And then I did it for like it was about not quite a year. And the whole thing about making money, I don't remember how I found a lot of this out, but I was always out there. You know, you're being aggressive and you were meeting people. And doing
just stage time.
If you did the duplex, you made the money that they paid at the door.
Right.
And but you had to have an hour of stand-up, which I had right away for whatever reason.
Right.
And so I did the duplex.
But do you feel like your hour was a real hour?
I was.
Really?
I was good fast, but I think it's because I was the
telling
whole time
stories?
I was bartending. Yes. And think about what I was doing. I had been bartending for 10 freaking years.
Right. So you were.
I think I'd already been practicing and didn't realize it.
When you bartended, did you know your prep for bartending? Is it similar to your prep for going on stage? Like, do you like before I go on stage, I check my, we write,
yes.
we do.
It's the
Were
same
you
sort
like,
of
what am I going to talk about today at the bar?
I don't know if I did that. No, because I'm very extemporaneous. You know, that's my thing. I don't think that part, but I think I remember, I would do things like I would come in, I'd be cleaning and you're cutting fruit and all that other stuff. And I would go, oh, and the guy who was on Jeopardy, he's always comes in on Wednesdays. I want to make sure I ask him about. And
yeah.
But yeah, I do remember that sort of weird OCD stuff.
Okay. So you start doing sets. You come up pretty quickly. It was like a
boom.
Right.
I never middled.
Right. You're so lucky.
I know it. I'm not.
I think I'm. I remember
because I went from running around to those clubs to headlining at the duplex in a year.
Right. That's amazing. I was doing.
That's fortune.
I would MC for years. Then I went on the road as a middle so that I could,
which is what you do,
get the stage time. And I hated. I was so miserable. And then I was working with the amazing Jonathan, and he said, "You want a headline? You have a closer that no one wants to follow." And that's when I started doing and I am telling you.
Oh,
when
that's
brilliant.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Because I used to lip sync all the time,
good.
And I did.
You're like, I got one.
Yeah. So my HBO special, at the end, they try to get me. They would flash the light. I'm like, I'm not going. I'm not going. And then I did a short version. Anyway, okay. You end up.
That's a good story.
Getting.
I started hosting that contest too.
Right. It's
so fun.
So mid 90s, 94. You and Bob Smith, who. Rest in peace. I love you. I think about you every day. And there's a butterfly, I'm not kidding, that flies around here. And when I'm playing tennis. And I swear to God, it's the same butterfly because it looks, and I feel like it's Bob. Okay. Anyway, you and Bob Smith are the first openly gay.
Do it on purpose. Chris Albrecht, who was running.
Yes.
He says, I'm going to do some gay comics, and then it was Carolyn Strauss who ran everything.
Yes, Carolyn Strauss. Lesbian.
She
and
to get an extra thing for gay lesbian, or Jewish gay lesbian.
Yeah, she gets two. Okay.
So she
lovely.
They
lovely
went and they
lady.
went on purpose, and they spent like 6 months looking for one gay guy and one gay girl, each one to do a half-hour special. They were going to break into that.
Right.
And I was not the woman picked.
Who was?
I can actually tell this now because she and I have spoken about it a lot. Marga Gomez.
Really? And why didn't she end up doing it?
There was an earthquake in California in 1994.
Oh, yes, I remember. Yes.
And I came in a few days later and opened for some of the women lesbian folk singers. And because people couldn't travel, Carolyn Strauss and her partner had to go to this stupid concert. That's how they talked about it, right?
Carolyn
and I come out and I do the
Yeah.
I do the 30, 40 minutes before the actual musicians. And that night she went, "Oh no, we picked the wrong girl. We're going to use Suzanne." I didn't know any of that.
And did this, you didn't know until when? Until
I'm gonna
Marga told you?
Oh, no. I'm going to say a good 3 to 4 years later. No one ever told me. I didn't know that was true. Marga knew, and to her credit, never said a word to me and treated me always fantastic.
Love you, Marga.
Can you imagine?
No, I can.
Yeah, she's
actually.
a better person. But so, and when I found out, we met up somewhere and we just like sort of hashed the whole thing out. And she was like, it was really painful, but then she got picked up by William Morris and did Sphere or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So she had some really awesome things happen.
Right. Everything happens for a reason. Okay. So you and Bob have these specials, and it was groundbreaking.
It was I was like, what?
And no one was doing this.
It wasn't like we rose to the top. It was like there was literally, how many other women were doing openly gay comedy at the time? I'm going to say 5.
Right. I didn't come out until my Henry was born. I came out so it's 96.
Oh.
I came out because I started talking about, I had so much material.
You're like, oh
my
yeah.
God. Yeah. But that people would say to us. So I kind of came out as a gay parent.
That's good.
And you came out and you did Letterman?
That was actually way later. That was 2007, I think.
That's amazing.
And he hadn't had anybody on who was open till that time. And he didn't have anybody on, not really till the end. He wasn't super supportive of the gay community.
Or
women.
People with vaginas. And your career at that time.
Boom.
Right. Now, after that, right after Bob Smith was the first on network television on the Tonight Show. Bob Smith was the first openly gay performer on a network television, and he murdered.
But again, I never got asked back to Letterman.
Right.
Nobody followed up. And what hurt me about Bob's too. Well, this hurt me from our HBO specials, but with Bob then immediately going on the Tonight Show within like months, later weeks. I thought the gay press and the gay community would just like be so stoked, and we would nothing. It was like it didn't even happen.
Right.
It really hurt my heart.
There's a thing that we share too that I want to talk about, but I just, you never faltered from your convictions, your activism. You have said that you're only comfortable in your own skin when you're on stage. Same. I can't fake it. I can't
have since you came in '96. That must have been like a
and it was so interesting. I was talking about my mother and stuff, and I was in a relationship, but I really had no jokes about being gay.
But you could now. And
right.
Oh my God.
And then when I had kids, I was like, fuck it. What kind of mother am I that I'm like, listen, we're not going to talk about
correct.
And I came out, and you had already been here in Provincetown. I started working in Provincetown in 92.
You'd been to Provincetown, though.
Right. I had started working at the post office in 92, and everyone was like, is she gay? Is she not gay?
No, because I met you in 92.
Yeah. And then I was gay, too.
Yes, I knew you were gay.
Everyone knew I was gay. Yeah. No, I was kind of out to all my friends, but I didn't talk about it on stage. I talked about my gay friends.
But no one did.
Right.
It's not like, and you're hiding this thing.
You were fearless, and Bob was fearless. And Kate was fearless, and Reno was fearless, and Marga, and there were so many. What was his name who died? The little.
I loved Frank.
Frank, yeah.
Maya.
Frank Maya, yeah. There were just so many, and these people need to be.
There actually weren't that many.
Yeah. Okay. So. And I came out in 96, which I know had an effect on my career, but I don't really fucking care because I wasn't going to lie about it. I know this is true for you. You work a lot of gay stuff, but you also...
I still do straight clubs.
Right. You also do a lot of straight clubs.
Yeah,
and I know that with Bob and you and in the late 90s and the early 2000s, when all of these councils and groups and GLAAD and HRC and Family Equality Council and all this stuff, there was only a handful of us that were out that hosted these things.
Until they started to get famous people
Right.
that came,
But
then they
here's
didn't want
the
us
thing.
anymore.
Here's the thing: is like we were
Never
there.
forgotten that.
Yeah, this is what is sort of sad to me. And then when these people who have already become successful billionaires
Then they
and
come out.
millionaires
Oh, yeah,
come
yeah.
out, it's like let's
Boom.
get this one. Let's get Robin Roberts. Let's get.
Look at Glad. Glad was worse because I would go and do something at a Glad event, and then when they started getting huge, I remember when they were a fold-over staple thing that came in the mail, right?
Right.
And actual famous people came to the Glad event,
Right.
Then they didn't want me anymore. Trevor Project, same thing.
Right. Yeah, Trevor.
When they were
yes.
when it was nothing, I hosted it for the first 3
When
years.
all the nascent
Right.
that it was
When
all
it
we were
got
good enough.
famous people,
Right. But it's not that they were famous. It's that
they were also heterosexual. 90% of them. That
right,
was a
and
thing.
they were allies, and it wasn't
yeah.
it wasn't that risky. I have a gay
Whatever.
brother. I have a gay this.
Yeah.
I have a gay that. So it's like, oh, let's use them. And now, when people decided, because of all of us, that were out and took the shit, that it was safe.
Oh, yeah.
Now I've made my money. I don't have much to lose, really. I mean, of
No, they
course,
didn't.
They
They
now
didn't
we're
have
going to
anything
use,
to lose.
and
It was a
it's
different
so like I want to.
They were brave.
Right. And I won a Glad Media Award in
Oh, that's
2007
fantastic.
or 8 or for one of my one-person shows. I have not been invited
Oh yeah, no, me
to the
either.
Glad
No.
Awards. I hosted them.
I know. I did too. I
the-
met Barbara Walters that way. My God.
And the
That was in the late
the
90s.
center in New York.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even invited to the women's. I was such a part of that women's night. Nothing.
It's painful.
I don't
get
understand.
invited to it either.
But I've also
More and more.
noticed. Yeah.
I think now I'm starting to think, is it because it's? I think it's really starting to happen since I turned 50. I feel like
Oh, please.
Forget about it. It's like you're invisible.
You're invisible. There's a show. There's Bob. He just flew by. There's a show on Showtime, Women of a Certain Age, where they took women over. And
we're
I can't. I
I'm the
feel
same
like
funny
I can't.
person.
I don't want to be put in. Oh, here's a group of women. They're over 50.
You're right,
Here,
yeah. I know, yeah.
But guys over 50 who are comics, they're just guy comics.
Means nothing. Yeah.
Oh, it's so infuriating. And it's also that our community, it was LGB, then it's LGBT, better, has now factioned off into so many different, it's amazing that,
Got a couple Qs. We got eyes. We got plus signs.
we
It's
don't
crazy.
want gender. And yet the men,
It's still the patriarchy.
yeah, the men have their organizations
Exactly.
that
And their bars and their clubs and everything.
Right.
Oh yeah.
it's just, yeah.
They're not. When you say we don't want gender, if you're watching closely, they don't want women.
Right.
And when I say women, I mean regular, real women.
Right,
The way
right.
we act, not like when we're being Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
Right.
All right. And I've been in situations where I have heard gay men disparaging women and lesbians and lesbians, and I
theater.
thought,
I was in theater. You didn't.
and I was just like, oh my God, we were there for you. Like, we're all the same. Like, how can you you came out of a woman? What the fuck? Like, there's a whole other faction of misogynist men who are straight, but you think misogyny is really from a straight guy, but it's not.
But
It's from
often from gay. But don't you remember? Even in New York, I remember first in Fire Island in New York is going to. If you tried to go into a lesbian or a gay guy bar, and they would stop you in the front. Do you have 3 pieces of ID? Who
Oh,
has
yeah.
3 pieces of ID in
Well-
the world so that they could keep the girls out.
But it was funny, the cubby hole with
I love the cubby hole.
The cubby hole, and they're like, "What? Who are you?" Like they were. Yeah, it's like if we
I knew
do the
Dee,
same
the bartender,
thing,
so I just floated in.
right? If we do this, if we behave like them, we're
Oh, yeah.
cunts
Oh, my
and
God.
bitches, and yeah. This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself, you can process, and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it, and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Judy Gold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Judy Gold. You're welcome. Before we go, how long?
I feel like we've been talking for an hour, like 5 hours or something.
An hour 20, bitch.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I love you.
I can't help it. I feel like
this is my podcast.
We have all this in common too, and you and I have never really gotten to talk about a lot of this stuff. Some of it is 20 years ago. We have been friends and known each other nearly 30 years. Like, you know what I mean? We've been through a lot, but we were on the edges of each other's lives. So it's not like we ever hung out overnight.
Right, and I ended up having kids, and
that's very different.
Yeah, but we've always been aware of each other and respected each other, and that's what I love.
And we never fought or had any weirdness, which is great.
I try not to have fight and weirdness with anyone.
No, me too, but there are people who are crazy who are in comedy too. I know. And it might be me. But
First of all, you recently had an accident.
Well, it's a couple years now.
When we were on a cruise together right before.
No, right after.
No, before you had it with Melissa and Tish.
True?
Yes,
before.
It was before. Remember, you were your leg was hurting, your back was hurting.
Oh my God, honey, yes, I do know. I forgot that was before.
Yeah, and then you were at dinner. You went outside to have a cigarette.
No. I went outside to get the car from the valet in LA with my other my other friend, because my girlfriend and her girlfriend were in paying the bill, whatever, And I've had a million tests, so I don't want to hear everybody talk about it, but I passed out for whatever reason, and so all 150 pounds of me, I face planted on the cement. So I cracked my head, and my girlfriend had to run out and do CPR.
Yeah, this was such a I can't.
Right. Can you imagine that? Someone you love,
Janine,
you're right.
She's amazing. Your girlfriend's amazing. And I remember getting the phone call, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And I remember everyone calling your sisters, and I sent you slippers, I think.
Yes. That was very cool. I think you were the only one to do that. I love that.
I like giving gifts.
What happened is I hit my head, and so I cracked. My brain bled.
Right.
And I broke all the bones behind my nose and my eyes, and so I was in a coma for a couple weeks. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, it was horrible.
It was pretty bad. But I don't remember so much of it. Whereas for my girl, I think it was
Janine,
the biggest trauma.
Oh, of course.
Maybe like the second biggest trauma of her whole life. Yeah.
Okay. And you're still together.
Yes.
And you recovered.
I did. I have a TBI that's called a traumatic brain injury. Don't make it so dramatic.
Right.
But I have things that I'm aware of or that I adjust.
Like what's different?
Life.
What's different?
Sometimes I have irrational fear. And I just pushed through
That's just being Jewish. Okay,
go
ahead.
Oh yeah, I am 2%.
Yeah, that came out. It probably
that's my 2%.
Invigorated.
Yes, right. Now I have a short-term memory loss for like quick things.
Like what's the last thing you forgot?
Oh my God, where you live. everything about.
I
where
know
you
you've
live.
been
Where
here.
I've been many times.
Here.
Tremont, everything.
Right.
I literally walked out of the thing here, and how many times have I been to Commercial Street and
I
in
know.
P-Town?
Right.
And
And
just
Eddie,
missed, like
you
an hour.
came in and
I walked in.
Eddie's
I've known
here.
Eddie for years, probably
For
15 or 20 years.
No, I think more.
Okay, I'm thinking,
Yeah,
easy.
yeah,
You're
maybe,
right, my
yeah.
right, yeah. And I walk in and I know his face, but I couldn't think of
And
him
you're
at all.
like,
I didn't
"Hey,
know
honey,"
why I
and
know
I go,
him.
Eddie,
And
no,
she goes,
you
said,
came
and
in,
Eddie,
I said-
Eddie Safferty's dog is here too.
Yeah, so the dog was
I went,
at the
"Thank
door."
God.
Yeah.
Oh, Eddie, yes, of course. And it's not like he doesn't look the same. It's
Right.
not that. It's 100%. Yeah.
Well, he's way older. No,
well,
I'm kidding.
I'm way older. We're all older.
And you've adjusted. I mean,
Yeah,
your biggest fear was that you would
I
forget your act
well, because
and
I was
not
in a
be
coma
funny.
for so
Yeah.
long. Then they told my girl that she might have to learn how to walk. She might have to
Right.
learn how to talk. She might not remember. You know what I mean? So as soon as I got home, and it took a long time. I had like for me, I thought it was a long time because it was like 5 weeks
Right.
of rehab. And then I wanted to get on stage right away to make sure that I could still do it because there were so many things I didn't know
Right. And you did.
or couldn't remember.
Yeah.
And
It
I
came
wasn't
back.
sure. Yeah,
It's like music.
oh yeah, that's good.
You
and
know?
music really stayed with me. I
Yeah.
gotta tell you, because I forget a lot now.
Well,
I
you
get a lot
go
of
to
stuff.
Alzheimer's, patients or
That's
dementia
right.
patients. You play music, and they're
And you want I don't know if you ever heard this story too. This is my favorite. When I was in the coma, Jay stayed with me the whole
Right.
time in the hospital.
Yeah.
So when Melissa and Tish came out and gave her a break.
Yeah.
One night.
I love Melissa and Tish. I love
me
you.
too.
Yeah.
Jay sat beside me while I was in the ER in the coma and sang to me at night
Oh,
because she thought if anything gets through.
it'll be music.
Right, so she said one night she could only remember the words to this Adele song, which
Right.
is really a Bob Dylan song.
Right.
That one. And
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Make me feel
yeah.
your love.
And
yeah.
she said, I sang it over and over again for like 2 hours because I couldn't think of
And I bet the
anything
nurses were like, "Oh my God,
Oh, I'm
shut
sure
the fuck up."
because she would never, right?
So your resilience really got you through, and here you are. So now, what do you?
It's changed my life a lot though, so I feel like yes, it did. You're right because I'm still performing, I'm still working,
Right.
everything's fine. But there's and I lost friends, which then you don't think they weren't
Right.
friends. But so I think of myself as like each day going, okay, you
Right.
know,
Yeah, it changes
Oh
you.
my God, yeah.
You you're still doing gigs all around the
Oh, yeah.
country, and you're on the Stephanie Miller Show a lot.
No, I'm not going to be on that as much. She stopped using me. She's
Why?
a good friend. I don't know. She has her. It's her. Look, what she does is brilliant. And
Yeah,
Monday through
yeah.
Friday, seriously, can you
I'd
imagine
kill
it?
myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
And her whole life is that show.
Right, right.
Because she has to go to bed every night at
Right.
like 7. You know, I mean, so. I was on for like I want to say about 1.5 years, 2 years. I was on as much as I could be.
Right.
But she wanted somebody to be on Friday mornings. Well, when you're a comic, that's
Oh,
what I'm
right.
traveling.
You can't. Yeah.
And so I missed a bunch of times, and then I was in a bunch of times, and so and I just don't think she felt like she could get a groove.
Right. Because you
And I
have
kept
to
saying,
take
"Have
the
me
work.
on Tuesday morning. Have me on Tuesday."
Yeah,
And she
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
want that, and
Because
it's her
she probably
show.
has each
right,
day
and, she has
set.
the thing,
Yeah.
and it's her show, and she's so good at it.
Yeah, she's great.
And yeah, so I'm not.
And
on
she's
that anymore.
skinny.
Yeah, and
okay.
she's open now.
Yeah. I always ask my guests 2 questions because we're
Oh,
very
like the Proust interview.
yes. Number 1, we're very pro mental health. I suffer from anxiety and depression and whatever OCD, whatever. And I've been on medication.
You got to do stuff because
Right.
you can't. Yeah,
I work out. I meditate.
Yep.
Have you ever been or are you on antidepressants?
No.
Never? Wow. Fucking A. That's amazing. What do you do for your...
I don't have depression.
I know, but what do you do to... you say you have fear now and you have... Yeah. What do
Oh.
you do to keep mentally healthy?
Well, I have to say, since the accident, and I had a whole bunch of surgeries up there because I had another weird accident, but whatever, I do less physical, and that I've been trying to change because I'm doing so much better with my back, my leg, and my all that stuff that I'm trying to get that all back now. So I would have to be honest with you because I haven't been in therapy for like I'm going to say 3 years, but I've been in therapy forever.
Yeah,
I started
same.
when I was in college.
Yeah.
But I. Probably nothing specific right now because I'm coming back so big.
Right,
I've been coming back this whole year. I'm walking again.
Right. It's just amazing.
But I mean, like I'm out and I'm doing something.
Right.
So
You're free.
yeah. But I feel good.
That's great.
I'm
Now,
kind of fortunate that way.
the name of the podcast is Kill Me Now because as you know, you've known me for years. I say
You
that
always say.
all the time because I fucking get so annoyed over. And so
And you've always been
like,
saying that.
Right.
And you've always been that. Yeah, you have
Right.
not changed your percent. I love that too. You
Well,
haven't become anything different.
Please.
I love it.
So I ask every one of my guests what pisses them off more than anything, like that makes you so fucking, and it could be anything. It could be anything where you're like freak out. Like, you know, for some people, it's like you have 13 items in the 12 item lane, you know, like what fucking makes you crazy?
Him and I, when people talk and they say, her and I went down to and they have like the worst grammar ever.
Oh, yeah.
And in every other way, they're a perfectly normal person,
Right.
maybe
Her
even
and I.
education. And it makes me want to just spit blood on them.
Right,
It's just like I get so.
I correct the grammar of my hate mail people.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the funnest thing to
that's
do.
brilliant,
Like, what's the worst offense?
Her and I, because my girlfriend's from Long Island, and so her family's from Long Island, and my family does it too. And I don't think it's like a sort of area of country where people all say, "Oh, well, her and I went," and I'm like, it's like I can feel like,
Right.
I have to kill you.
Right.
She and I. It's not so hard.
Right.
And that her thing. I told Janine when I met her, I said, just don't ever say her. Every time you think, just say she. You're going to be right more than you are.
Right.
Than the other times.
That's so funny.
No. But I don't want to, I'm a little bit of a grammar Nazi, I guess.
No, that's great. And who knew? Because you're not German now.
I know, right? But I went to college on a grammar
Yeah.
school. But yeah, and my grammar isn't even perfect. There's
Right.
just some of these things are
Yeah,
just so
you know what
horrible. They make you
happens?
sound like such fucking piece of white
Right.
trash.
So like
Don't.
when I hear someone say like a racial slur, like I'm done.
It's-
Like
yeah,
that's
you're
it.
done.
It's
Oh,
like
yeah,
when
no,
I
I
find out
can't.
if someone's a Trump supporter. You know,
no, yeah.
I'm done.
Funk.
But that's fascinating.
But I would say the thing, I'm very much, I'm very much like that about the racism thing, though. Don't you find like it's shocking when it comes at you and it's women or it's white
Right,
women who
right.
are lesbians? You're like, do you know?
You know, we were
like,
at
how
the-
are you
we
doing
were
that?
at
there was
the
so much
beach.
bigotry against us.
we met Elisa and I met these two guys at the beach. And we were just, I don't know, kept moving back and forth because I'm neurotic. There was a dog and then there was a baby. And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
fuck
yeah.
it. And they're like, oh, how come you're moving? And we just started talking to them and ended up hanging out with them. And one of them was like making these anti-Semitic remarks or asking me questions. And I was trying to be, explain stuff. And he was like, well, tell them that they're all snotty down in Florida or something like that. And I just couldn't and that
So gross.
like you're with me. I happen to be a Jew. Elisa happens to be a Jew. You're having fun with us. Like,
Why
what
do you
the
have-
fuck?
why are you even thinking that?
Right.
Where'd you
it's
go?
just like Jew.
But it's like it's like
It's like
people are still
homophobia,
being
yeah.
homophobic, and you just want you're like it's 2019,
right. And like,
Where are
what
you?
does me being gay have to
Right.
do with you?
Your whole life.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I feel like that particular anger though is so old and been going
Right.
so long that I'm
And
just like
stupid.
Yeah,
Ignorant. Where can people find you social media wise?
I would say mostly on Twitter because I
And
dig
spell it.
Oh,
S-
TWI. Oh. I think I do SZ West. I think it's set.
S?
But I'm the only Suzanne Westenhoefer, so
Right.
you're always going to get me. But
Right.
I think it's SZ for Suzanne and West.
Yeah.
That's how you find me on Twitter, I think.
Okay, at SZ West. Where are you performing? This will air after.
Oh, wait, no, I do know one thing. Wait, August 10th, I'm out in Fire Island.
Oh, that's
And
fun.
August 9th, I'm in, there's some hotel that has a cabaret in it now in Manhattan.
Oh, the 42?
Yorktown, yeah, whatever that is. I'm going to be there on the Friday the 9th.
Wait,
or
it's
something.
called the Yotel.
Yotel.
Yeah, Yotel. Yeah, they have a green room. It's called the
Right.
Green Room. It's great.
I'm doing, cool.
Okay,
I'm
that's
doing that
August
August 9th, and then
That
August
is
10th, I'll be out in Fire Island.
Let me tell you something. Guess what happens on August 9th? My son, Ben, turns 18.
You're going to lose him. That's it. He's out. He's had enough of you.
I know.
But he's been waiting for this for 2 years.
Yeah, I know. I can't thank you enough, Miss Westenhoefer.
You're going to have a son that's 18.
I have a son that's 22.
Oh, that's right. But my whole life just went like,
I know.
Because we were talking about it, so I took us back to like
Right.
P-Town 92,
right.
watching the Lesbian Lounge Lizards
Yeah.
after, you know what I mean? It's just like all of a sudden I went,
Oh my God, we're old.
Right?
We're
I
old.
basically what happened.
Thank you, Suzanne Westenhoefer.
Thank you, my
You
dear.
are $1.50.
of shit.
I wish you only the best. Enjoy the rest of your shows in P-Town. Look, follow Suzanne. She's great. She's fucking hilarious. And she's a pioneer. She's a pioneer woman.
Yep, without a buggy.
Yeah.
Come on. That's harder.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And as we always say, so long!
And everything was wonderful. I'll see you soon. Thank you for the visit. So long.